Balladus Orcanus. Alrighty guys, Vio here coming at you with just a little live commentary over a FIFA 14 demo game. So I'm just going to get into a game. I'm going to be Barcelona against random, so New York Red Bulls. That's going to be all fine. I'm not going to bother going and changing any of the team or something. I'll just go with whatever's there, which is probably fine because it's got Messi and Neymar, so you can't really go wrong. But what I wanted to talk about, and I'll just skip all this stuff. What I wanted to talk about in this live commentary is the game I just watched. I just watched the Liverpool Southampton game, and it was a good game, but not for Liverpool. So they did have a couple of decisions not go their way, which was unlucky for them. They probably should have got a penalty in the first half of Daniel Sturridge. But you know, that stuff will happen. You've got to get past that, and you've got to finish your chances off and stuff like that. Now, when they went forward, they just looked a little bit static. If you didn't know, they lost 1-0 to Southampton. Southampton played a really good game. They looked like they were creating all the chances and stuff like that. So it was a definitely well-deserved win for them. But Liverpool can probably complain a little bit about the penalty, but about the way they played the rest of the game, they can't really have any complaints about. So we'll get into the start of it. And what they did was they played 4 centre-backs at the back. So they played Mamadou Sakho, who's a brilliant young centre-back they brought in from PSG. And they played him a left back. Like, he's naturally a left-footed player, and normally plays on the left side of the centre backs. But he normally plays as centre back. So when you put him out wide in the position that Jose Enrique normally takes up, by the way, if this gameplay is not amazing, I'm just worried about the commentary, not so much the gameplay. I'm just playing randomly. But he was in the position that Jose Enrique normally takes up, and Jose Enrique was on the bench. Now this was a judgment call from Brendan Rodgers. It was a big call because it could have really gone either way. Like, unluckily for them, it didn't go the way they probably would have liked. When you're playing these days, if you're a winger, if you're a wing back, you're right back or left back, you need to really provide options going forward. And Sakho just is a beautiful centre back, but when he's playing as a left back, it looks so static. It looked really hard to watch. So it was just not good to watch. So it didn't seem like his position. It didn't seem comfortable. So unluckily for them, they didn't get as much width as they would have if they had Enrique on the field. So that was a big loss for them. And they had Kolo Touré at right back. Now he went forward a little bit more. He had a couple of decent runs, but still not what you'd expect. Not what you'd get from a Glenn Johnson, who I think was injured from what I remember. But I think they had Wisdom or someone like that on the bench. But by the way, I'm a Swansea fan, so I'm not being biased or anything in any of this stuff. Like, it's not like I'm hating on Liverpool or anything. Pedro through. Pedro. No. But yeah, like, it was a questionable call. If it could have gone either way. I think if they're gonna play four centre-backs like that, they would have probably done a lot better if they had Agger out at the left back instead of him at left centre-back. Now, Agger is a beautiful player. He's more of a ball-playing centre-back than Sakho is. Sakho's a brilliant physical specimen, but he doesn't have the ball skills that Agger does. Agger is sort of like a Vertonghen, not so much like a Vertonghen, but more of a Vertonghen ball-playing centre-back compared to Sakho's just a brute force sort of strength and just get the ball away from him type of centre-back. So when Liverpool went forward, they looked really just static. Their movement wasn't good. Iago Aspas and Sturridge weren't linking up properly. They really missed Coutinho and Luis Suarez up there. Coutinho is going to be out for another 6 weeks, I think, by the sounds of his injury, which is a huge loss because he's a brilliant creator in the midfield for Liverpool. But and Sturridge, I think, is going to be back next week for them. So that's a huge in. Obviously, it was their top scorer last season. Scored over 20 goals or something like that for him. So he's a big in. And then Southampton is the other team. So Southampton played very well. They played extremely well. They played their normal game. What they did really well against Liverpool is they pressed up. So Liverpool just couldn't handle it. Basically, what Liverpool liked to do, what Mignolet liked to try and do, was to play the ball out when he had the ball. Play it to his centre backs or play it to his right back or whatever, and build up from the back. But Southampton's press was just so good that they didn't allow Liverpool to get it to the centre backs. They made Mignolet go long, and it just didn't work out for them. So they couldn't play their game. I'm going to get rid of this because Sergio Busquets cannot hit a ball for Christ. Oh, Neymar hit it. Oh, so close. Yeah, so their press was absolutely amazing. And one thing about Southampton is they've had this freaking uncanny knack of bringing up youngsters. Their academy is ridiculously good. In the last few years, they've had Bale and stuff, and now they've got Luke Shaw at left back and Nathaniel Klein at right back. Now, what I'm going to do when FIFA 14 drops is I'm going to do a manager career mode with Southampton and try and, you know, get these young players, and because that's what I like to do in career modes, get young players and build them up. So I think I'm just going to stick with Southampton for the career modes in the upcoming FIFAs and stuff, because it's just, that's what I'm going to continue their stuff. But yeah, Shaw and Nathaniel Klein had brilliant games. Shaw is probably a bit more composed on the ball and in the tackles. He's probably a bit of a better player than Nathaniel Klein, but Nathaniel Klein really had a great game. I didn't think he'd have that good of a game, you know, coming up against, you know, Sturridge and Aspas and all that up front, but he really did well. He held his own, he played well, so it was good for him. And Luke Shaw is an absolute class player. He's only 18, and he's absolutely brilliant. And then they moved the ball really well. Osvaldo held the ball up when it got to him. He did really well, and he's just a class player, a class sort of centre forward, number 9 type role. He did that really well. And then what I noticed is when they brought James Ward-Prowse on, he's a really, I haven't really seen him play too much, but he's a really gifted player. If you've never seen James Ward-Prowse play, he's a midfielder. I'll get this finish. Oh, hit the post. He's a midfielder. He's a really solid midfielder. And he's 18 as well, I think. He's like Luke Shaw's age, so another real young one that they brought through the Southampton Academy. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. He was so composed on the ball, and the corners he was whipping in were like first-class corners, like corners you'd expect from a Xavi or whoever, you know, puts in great corners like that, a Bale or a Steven Gerrard. They were absolutely brilliant corners. And it's just really good to watch. Like, Southampton are a really nice, free-flowing team to watch, and it just makes football fun again. Like, them and Swansea, who actually do go for, they bring in youngsters and they make FIFA, maybe not FIFA, they make football good to watch. Beautiful finish there by Xavi. They make football good to watch. It's just youngsters playing free-flowing football, playing their heart out, not getting paid like 200 grand a week and stuff like that. But they're playing for their club, and they're playing for their pride, and they're doing it. So that's what I like to watch. And just Southampton played a brilliant game, and they deserved the win. As I said, the penalty was, I think it was Lovren that made the tackle on Sturridge that could have cost him a penalty, but he didn't worry too much about that. He just got straight on with it and actually got the goal for Southampton off the header, who looked really solid off set pieces. It was really ridiculous with Osvaldo, with Lovren. Font gets a lot of headers off corners and stuff like that. Gets a lot of goals from set pieces, so they've got a lot of attacking prowess in that. And then Wanyama and Schneiderlin in the midfield together is a beautiful combination. Wanyama is probably more of an attacking-minded player, by the looks of it, but they both are sort of centre defensive mid type thing, but both can go forward and, you know, make a ball, do that, you know, pass that they need to put through and stuff like that. So try something cheeky with Messi. Nah. Try to do a rainbow flick over the keeper, but it's hard to get used to these bloody FIFA 14 stuff. I'm still getting used to the mechanics and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I want to just put my thoughts out there about Liverpool Southampton game. I might do this on one game a week, just because it's a nice 3-minute halves or something like that for this demo. Just a nice quick video on what I thought about the game and stuff like that. So Southampton to play very well. They've definitely deserved the win. And what I'm going to be doing in FIFA 14 when that drops is Southampton. I'm going to be doing a manager career mode, and I'll do a player career mode for Swansea, because I want my dude to be playing for Swansea. I want Validus to you know, go up the ranks in Swansea, bring them some success in the Premier League and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a really fun one to do. We ended up getting the win, actually. So it was a good win, and Xavi with the finishing touches on a beautiful through ball from, I think, Messi. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was really fun to make, and I've been Vio, and peace.